Black Ops 2, everyone's favorite childhood game, the game that brought us together and gave us some of the best memories. But along with those memories, we lived through a time where we saw numerous and memorable advertisements that were bright and colorful, making the future look good from our young eyes. Then you remembered what a modern McDonald's looks like today, and everything just followed suit. But what if I told you Black Ops 2 was not entirely trying to predict what 2025 would look like back in 2012, but they also did somewhat build their game around that feeling. And that feeling is called Frutiger Aero. Now I want to keep this part short and sweet because most of you probably already know, but for those who don't, I'll give you a quick rundown of what Frutiger Aero is. It is a design aesthetic that was popular in the late 2000s and early 2010s. It's named after the Frutiger typeface, and it's glossy, futuristic. Think about shiny surfaces, bubbles, water, tech mixed with nature, with overall clean visuals. At the time for gaming, this design was often found on consoles, and I mean, look at an Xbox. They really took this design and worked with it, the Xbox 360. It was very much a product of its time, but apparently after 2013, this concept and style was completely forgotten and replaced with what we have today. Now, I briefly mentioned in the introduction that Treyarch was most likely assuming what 2025 would look like. I mean, this game was built when Frutiger Aero was still around, and if you're someone who's been researching or have somewhat knowledge about this concept, then you've probably heard the common catchphrase associated with it that goes, "the future that we were promised." Frutiger Aero nowadays is also known to be a liminal space, which we will be looking at when it comes to multiplayer maps. But I want to keep things simple and just look at the different categorizations of the Frutiger Aero. For example, Frutiger Metro, Aqua, Dorfic or Garden, Echo, Futurism, Techno Zen, and Frutiger Fruits, and probably a lot more that I might miss. Now, I don't want to overcomplicate things in this video, and I also took a lot of feedback from my Mandela video, and a lot of you said I shouldn't bluntly claim that something is 100% if only a small percentage of people think it's something. So in this video, I'm taking that into consideration, and everything that I personally think that fits into these categories will be based off of my own research and assumptions. But I did keep things as accurate as possible and everything as correct as possible. But either way, oh, wait. Let me just set the mood real quick before we get into this video, give you that real nostalgic feeling. Yes, that's better. Music and a little bit of saturation. Alright, now let's explore the Frutiger Aero in Black Ops 2. Now for this video, I want us to focus on the multiplayer side of things, but before that, I want us to look at one of the campaign missions, specifically the Colossus mission. Now if you've played it, you'll remember that this is a floating city or a floating island. It is a luxurious resort, and it features a bunch of restaurants, shopping centers, basically just stuff that you can live on. And when you really look at it through the lens of Frutiger Aero, everything about this resort screams that early 2010s vision. I mean, the color scheme screams that Frutiger Aero, but also it's futuristic and it's inviting. I mean, there's no harshness, no overly sterile vibe like you'd see later in minimalistic aesthetics. Instead, it's smooth, it's glossy, and it feels alive. And then there's, of course, the use of water and nature put together. From the moment that you arrive at the resort from that cutscene, you could already tell the different types of Frutiger aesthetics. I mean, we see a lot of Frutiger Techno Zen, Echo, Aqua, and Futurism. I mean, you are surrounded by endless ocean. I mean, water is everywhere reflecting, and once you're inside, you notice the little touches of greenery, the potted plants, the lush decorative spaces around the shopping areas, and the tech is integrated with the organic elements to make everything just feel balanced and optimistic. And another key piece is the architecture and layout. I mean, the interiors of Colossus are full of curves, the reflective surfaces, and the transparent glass walls that let nature just flood in. I mean, everything just feels open. It's airy, it's clean, there's no clutter, no sharp edges. It's like walking into an early Xbox 360 dashboard brought to life, where everything is designed to be intuitive and beautiful. Looking at a cutscene from the game, we could tell that this area just looks like a fever dream. I mean, if we look at the green patches on the buildings themselves, which is presumably the room that people stay on, the backyard is just a green patch with no separators from neighbors, and it's just a copy and paste all around the resort. It seems like a design that you would not see in 2025. If you're wondering what was on the other side of the windows all around the Colossus resort, it's actually just more trees in grass and sand. If we go on the map Plaza on the multiplayer, we can actually see this. Also, towards the end of the mission, when we're fighting through the mall section, if we look at one of the robots that we can get by prying open the door, what's really cool about this robot is that it follows the same exact visual language. It looks like something that we imagined around 2008 and 2012, where future technology would follow the color scheme of blue, green, white, gray, just bright colors. Now, one of the things that interested me the most were the advertisements. Now, they're nothing crazy, but they have this 2010 type of feel and vibe to it. I mean, they are futuristic, but they have this simple font, simple bright color. It's not too much, but it has that weird nostalgic feeling to it. Now, obviously the campaign doesn't have a whole lot of ads because we're always in constant war, but one part of the game where we have a bunch of ads is in the multiplayer. Now, I want to look at the multiplayer in 3 different perspectives, 1 being the advertisements, 2 being the atmosphere and architecture, and lastly the community experience. Starting with the advertisements. Now, if you've watched any of my overanalyzing videos here on YouTube, then you probably know that I always say something will become important one day, and today is that day, and that's the vending machines. Okay, I know that sounds a little bit ridiculous, but if we take a look at both of these vending machines, they're always side by side with each other. I mean, just looking at the bottom of the machines, they have this circle that ripples across the machines, and that's another sign of Frutiger Metro. They follow the same type of bubbly and glossy text. I mean, it almost feels comforting when you look at them. If we look at the Gen 2 energy drink, it has Frutiger fruits on it, while the peach drink machine shows bubbles, soft blue tones, and a sleek peach bottle that looks refreshing and modern. The text is so simple and clean. It's the kind of font that mixes nature and technology, and it's fun, and it still looks professional for a company to sell their products. Now, if we go on the map Magma and pay close attention to one of the vending machines, if we take a look at the cans, they actually have a Frutiger Metro pattern on them. It just adds an optimistic tech vibe to it. I mean, Frutiger Aero is all about mixing nature and technology, and that's exactly what the Bora Bora ad is doing. The underwater coral and colorful fish are meant to sell you a piece of untouched paradise, glowing with artificial optimism that defined the early 2010s vision of the future. The colors and the oversaturated deep blue ocean, neon corals, and the tropical fish that pop almost too perfectly. And overall, companies, when it came to advertisements, tried to make you feel like technology could bring you closer to nature. It's a snapshot of a cultural dream, the belief that the future would be glossy, global, and full of opportunities, where technology could sell you not only just on a product, but a lifestyle. One of the ads I found the most in Black Ops 2 are the fashion ads, and you're not just seeing a random texture slapped on a wall. What you're seeing is a snapshot of how people in 2012 imagined what fashion branding in 2025 would look like. Every model is shot with glossy lighting, soft gradients, and a clean background that makes them look polished but almost artificial, like the cover of a high-end magazine from the late 2000s. Each poster tries to look clean and modern, but also a bit flashy. They all look polished in a way that feels futuristic, but also very 2010. I mean, all of it fits the Frutiger Aero idea, mixing clean, shiny designs with a promise that the future will be stylish, exciting, and full of energy. They captured the early 2010s dream of what 2025 fashion and lifestyle would be like. Now, the music and entertainment side of things show how the game is imagining music as well. I mean, and again, they carry that Frutiger Aero feel. They're bright, glossy, full of energy, mixing human figures with glowing shapes and bold graphics. Take the big red billboard, for example. It looks like that old iPod ad known as the 4 colors. It's powerful, it's using light and movement, it makes music look like freedom and fun. EMCEE World Bus Tour from the map Encore has that jet set radio type of vibe, which is an early 2000s old classic Xbox game. And then there's that talent ad show, a strange glowing figure standing in front of music notes with birds flying around. All of these fit into that early 2010s dream of how entertainment would be sold in the future. Loud colors, glowing effects, clean fonts, and surreal art that mixes people with digital symbols. It's fun eye-catching, and a little weird, but that's what makes it feel futuristic. These posters are not just a background decoration, they show time when people believed the future of music and culture. Even this cold ad for drinks is something you would see in the early 2012s sold at a mall with the blue kind of wavy line in it. This travel poster is a great example of Frutiger Aero Echo. Right away you see the small globe with bright buildings, trees, and the windmill turbines sitting on top of it, all under a clean blue sky. It looks playful, almost like a toy planet, but the message is the future of traveling is green and modern and global. It makes everything feel bright and positive. Instead of showing a crowded airport or traffic, it just shows a simplified, perfect world where technology and nature work together. Even the word travel is bolded and simple, inviting you to think of the future as easy and connected and full of possibilities. But why do any of these matter? What's genius here is that Treyarch didn't just build a futuristic map, they built a future consumer culture. Everywhere you look are billboards, posters, and vending machines that reinforce a believable 2025. But because they're designed in a glossy utopian style of the 2008 to 2012 Aero aesthetic, they're also locked in time, meaning that Black Ops 2 feels like it's a time capsule, not actually what 2025 is, but of the 2025 we thought was coming back in 2012. Another thing too we thought in 2012 would be coming in 2025 is some of the architecture and atmosphere. Now Raid is one of the strangest architectural elements in a modern 2025 mansion home. There's a lot of things that make you ask yourself if this would make sense if it would in a home, and I mean mansions are some of the most complex things. I think we can all agree that a garage should be fully covered in case it rains, especially when you have expensive technology inside of it. I mean, this circular part of the roof on the garage is a ridiculous idea, but it follows the same principle of what Treyarch assumed, and that's what a mansion could be like in 2025. Now, why does this matter? Well, remember at the beginning of the video when I said that Frutiger Aero is more of a liminal space when it comes to buildings and designs. Nowadays, well, Raid and other maps that we will see have this element to them that makes you question the reality of them. Things like, why is there a random window with furniture inside of it with no door to get in or out? I mean, Raid is a nostalgic map, but when we look at the Frutiger Aero liminal space type of designs, it almost fits in the same kind of category. If we take a look at Express, the designs and layout of Express have this eerie feeling where, if you recall from my first ever overanalyzing video on Express, I mentioned that the seating areas are a little bit too little for an LA train station and are also just randomly placed in areas where it feels dark and that you're almost alone. And here is a video example of random seating places within a liminal space. But Express has a lot of these advertisements that we talked about already, but also the just overall design where if you walk in, you don't even need to pay a train ticket. I mean, there's no security, no layout, almost feels like empty and quiet. It doesn't even feel like it's ever even busy. It's just the vibe that I get from it. When I look outside of the map Grind, it gives me almost a feeling and vibe of Wii Resort Sports. I mean, it feels like you could swap out the guns for surfboards, and suddenly you're in some Nintendo vacation spot. By looking at the pier where the Ferris wheel is in the bright blue water, it almost feels like a Sony PlayStation PS3 game. Another DLC map is the map Cove, which takes place on a tiny tropical island. At first glance, it looks like nothing like a war zone until the plane crashes, but it's a paradise getaway. I mean, there's crystal clear blue water, bright skies, soft sand, palm trees everywhere. I mean, it almost feels like a travel commercial from the early 2010s. I mean, this isolated island could have came straight out of a Microsoft Windows wallpaper, and this idea kind of just turns into a multiplayer map. I mean, instead of being immersed in the gritty battlefield, players were running around what it looked like to be a corporate dream, a vacation spot. It's colorful and almost too polished to be a site of combat. And the way Cove reflects Black Ops 2 wasn't just trying to imagine the future warfare, but also the future lifestyle that went with it. I mean, from a distance we could see the hijack map and the boat that comes with it that almost looks something way futuristic or something straight out of Wii Sports almost. And also we can't forget about the tropical fish swimming. I mean, the map itself lines up with the whole Frutiger Aero aesthetic, even if players back then didn't even have words for it. Downhill is one of those maps that I think is underrated, but also has a lot of Frutiger Aero aesthetics. It makes you feel like you're playing during a snow day. It has this new vending machine introduced, the same as the peach and orange energy, but it's for hot chocolate, and it follows the same design layout as the ones we previously saw. And the touchscreen that we see also around the map, where it gives you the different options to know the temperature, the schedule, and to buy your tickets, is just something straight straight out of an iPhone 4 design. In Black Ops 2, we barely have any night maps, and one of those night maps that fit this aesthetic the most is Plaza. I mean, the fireworks adds that element, making it one of the most nostalgic Black Ops 2 maps, but also the futurism of it. The nightclub colors just feel alive on either sides of the map. I mean, both restaurants have comforting color themes to them. For example, the blue side has this fish tank to it, and it's a bright neon color that's attractive and just something that feels like a fever dream. And on the other side, the Agora restaurant has this comforting orange color where you feel comfortable sitting there, almost like it fits into the Frutiger Aero Dorfric side of things. And I mean, the entire maps, fonts, and colors just give off the vibe that this place is alive, but also empty once you actually step inside of the building. I mean, take in the tech store, it barely has anything other than its displays, and the same thing could be said with the jewelry stores, which adds that liminal feeling to it. But this map works a lot with the color blue. I mean, up till the nightclub, the architecture itself from the plaza across the map with the bright neon blue that's hard to miss when you actually walk by the water, the night blue sky, the blue water itself, and just overall all the other advertisements. If we go into the map Takeoff, surrounded not only by water, but if we actually enter one of the buildings, there's these monitors that are going through a different slideshow of different colors and patterns, and it has a mixture of Frutiger Aero, Metro, and just a bunch of different lens flares that give that early 2010 PC wallpaper. On the map Drone, if we take a look at the computer screens, they have these weird lines and bright blue colors. They have really simple fonts and that bubbly text to them and bubbly icons. Everything just seems so simple on these computers, even though they're dealing with probably something high-tech and dangerous. When we look at Nuketown 2025, there's actually a lot to unpack. Not only this map is supposed to be kind of like a 80s or 90s type of vibe, but it also has these weird patterns and these weird things that just make it more Frutiger Aero than anything. Some of the things that give that away for me are the bubbles that are coming out of the dishwasher, adding on to the Frutiger Aqua / shiny technology, that things are always glossy, shiny, clean, but also the floors have a lot of that Frutiger Aero Metro that we've already seen. Just those weird patterns all over the floor. Not only that, but also the weird type of textures on the wall, just like these ones with the square, that just fits into the Dorfric type of Frutiger. Even when upon entering the bedroom, there's this wall with these poppy, glossy, and shiny rectangles and squares with just different colors on them. When making our way to the blue house in one of the bedrooms, it actually resembles the Frutiger Territories. I think I'm pronouncing that properly. Not only that, but if we actually make our way to the staircase, there's actually a picture frame that looks like a sort of liminal space type of thing. I mean, it just makes zero sense what it's supposed to be. Same thing could be said with the floor, which has like these different squares that resemble almost like the Dorfric type of pattern. Also, the circle path on the side of the orange house just gives off the Frutiger Metro, since it's infatuated with a ton of circles that are blended in together and infused together. But also on the outside of the map, the buildings look like they have that Frutiger futurism to them. I mean, they're unrealistic, they don't have a very clear foundation, it's just more random shapes stick together. If you look at the house right next to the blue one, it has just a random wallpaper of Frutiger Dorfric. I mean, Frutiger Futurism's designs don't really have to make any sense, or don't really when you think about it. I mean, what are these type of platforms here? I mean, by looking at a lot of these things around the Nuketown 2025, they just kind of don't make any sense when it comes to... But when we think about it, Nuketown 2025 takes place during the year 2025, meaning that the future is already there in game, and what we're seeing is just a plain advertisement to show that living in these houses are worth it in case of a nuclear attack. But they do have that 80s or 90s theme to them, but they also were built around a lot of the Frutiger Aero type of design aesthetics. And probably is the reasoning why that we are so attached to Nuketown 2025 is just because of the color scheme. And Frutiger Aero was at its peak when this game came out. It almost affiliates itself with everything Frutiger type. I mean, the Xbox 360 dashboard that we mentioned earlier, or the old tech designs and the old way that advertisements used to work are all implemented in this game, and we can see that through the multiplayer, which sets a reminder to us of how good this game was in our childhood. Now, there's not even a single article, video, comment, or picture other than, I think, 2 or 3 Reddit posts mentioning people having a Frutiger Aero feeling while playing Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Because, well, nobody at the time had the words to describe it. This aesthetic didn't really have a name back then. And for players in 2012, it was just the future. It was Call of Duty's version trying to incorporate what 2025 could look like. and you realize that that's the whole multiplayer experience. The community wasn't just sitting there in Plaza or Hijacked saying, wow, this feels like a Microsoft Aero's design. We were all just living in it. We were all uploading montages on YouTube and looking up how to customize a custom emblem. The feeling was embedded in the way that the game presented itself, not in how people consciously talked about it, and that's what makes it so fascinating. Black Ops 2 accidentally became a time capsule of a design trend that no one really named until much later. And for the community, the Frutiger Aero vibe was invisible, but it was shaping the way we all experienced the game together. Now, before I end things off, I would just like to announce that I have officially started a podcast with a fellow YouTuber called Headclover. Now, we've had this idea for a few months now, and we finally decided to go ahead and greenlit the channel, which will consist of other fellow Call of Duty YouTubers. If you're interested about nostalgia, classic Xbox, and just who we are as individuals, please make sure to check out in the link in the description. And by the time that you're seeing this video, our first episode is already out. Now, for this last minute, I do want to talk about something extremely important. As you know, I recently dropped t-shirts for 2,000 subscribers. As I mentioned when I released those that half of the profits would go to a charity, I wanted to be 100% transparent and let you guys know where that money went exactly, and the reasoning why I chose the organization I did. I decided to donate half of the profits to the Kids Help Phone. They're a charity that provides free 24/7 confidential support to kids and teens going through a tough time. Whether it's anxiety, depression, bullying, or just needing to talk to someone, they're always there. And I want to thank everyone who bought a t-shirt, because we've been able to help those lines stay open for someone who might really need it. And so your support really means that there are more trained counselors and volunteers ready to pick up the phone or reply to a text when someone really needs it. And I just independently chose this organization because I wanted to make it so it was mental health, and I think one of the most important thing in our society are obviously people that are young, and anyone that is a young teen or child shouldn't be able to feel alone. And so I want to thank everyone who bought a t-shirt, because we've been able to actually keep those lines open for someone who might really need it. Your support literally means that there are more trained counselors and volunteers ready to pick up the phone. And if you didn't buy a t-shirt, that's completely okay. I will be leaving a link in the description below if anyone is curious to check them out. And I will also be keeping the website up for another month in case some of you decide you want to buy a t-shirt, and I will continue to donate half of those profits to a charity. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and just remember to stay smart. See you, everyone.